So, Tomi Lahren, a supposedly conservative commentator who has previously worked for Fox News and The Blaze, has posted a 15-minute rant about how men are just garbage. Yet she says she's not a feminist. Let's have a look.
But something, as of recently, has been on my mind, and I consider myself a teacher, a helper, someone who could possibly inspire people to be better. So, with that being said, this is a PSA for all the men out there, and all the boys who think they're men, but they're actually boys.
You know, whenever a woman tells you that men in general have a problem based on her own relationship experiences, it can only mean one of two things. Either the woman is choosing relationships with bad men, in which case you have serious reason to doubt the clarity of her judgment, her values, and her self-control. Or she's choosing relationships with good men, but it's ending poorly because she's the problem. So, Tomi, you say you're a teacher, a mentor. You're going to teach us men how we can be better. But in very short order, you're going to tell us about all the bad experiences you're having with men, which can only mean that you're either deliberately choosing bad men, or you've chosen good men, but you're the problem. In either case, why should we listen to anything you have to say on the subject? I can sum up my entire response to this rant by simply saying this. Tomi, men do not owe you anything. If you want a relationship with a good man, either quit picking bad men, or figure out why all the good ones are steering clear of you.
This is going to be the summer of canceling boys. Now, from my own personal experiences and the experiences of all of my friends, which range in age from 24 to 36, we've all got issues. Now, I will also say this. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on.
Right off the bat, we have a huge red flag. Tomi says that she and all her friends are attractive, successful, and they have something going on. As I've said many times before, anytime someone has to tell you how great they are, it shows they don't really believe it. In other words, if you were really as attractive and successful as you think you are, you wouldn't feel the need to tell anyone. What Tomi is really saying here is that men in general just must be too stupid to recognize how great she and her friends are, and how deserving they are of everything they want. Is it any surprise that men aren't interested in having long-term relationships with someone with this sort of narcissistic attitude? No one owes you anything, Tomi. Not men, not anyone.
Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. And you have to start looking at that and thinking, if an age range of that many people, including myself, living really all over the country and being blonde, brunette, short hair, long hair, tan, super white, super pale. These women range in every body type and everything. They're all successful, they're all intelligent, they're all good people. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think, it might not be us. It might be you. It might be men. It might be men.
Or let me give you an alternative thought, Tomi. You, as a human being, are responsible for the things that you do. You are the one choosing who you're going to accept dates from and reject dates from. Therefore, if all your relationships are failing, do you think that the problem is that men just in general are garbage? Or could it be that you and your friends are consistently choosing bad men because you value things like height, good looks, and income more than you value demonstrated character, self-control, and other things that you should want for the father of your children? As the old saying goes, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Have you actually tried to make any changes in yourself? Or does everyone else have an obligation to change themselves to meet your desires? If you honestly believe the latter, then I pity the man who wants to spend even 1 minute of time with you.
Now, I've often talked about the pussification of America and how men are no longer men. I talk to my mom about this a lot, and she says, well, maybe it's just the guys in Texas. Maybe it's just the guys in Los Angeles. Maybe it's just the guys. It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. Quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country in the age range of about 20 to I think about 55, maybe even 60. A lot of men are trash.
Okay, a lot of men are trash. For the sake of argument, let me grant that that's true. Suppose a lot of men are trash. Why then are you choosing to have relationships with these men? When you go out on a date, are you asking questions about their past behavior to determine what kind of person they are? As your relationship progresses, are you speaking to their friends and family to learn what kind of company they keep? Are you setting boundaries, such as refusing to have sex until they demonstrate that they are interested in commitment? Or are you seeking out tall, attractive, rich men, jumping into bed with them on the first night, and hoping that the power of great sex will transform them into great husbands and providers? I think we all know the answer.
A lot of men don't know how to treat women. A lot of men don't know how to really, quite frankly, pull their heads out of the sand and pay attention.
And not a single man on earth owes you squat. Not good treatment, not respect, and certainly not a relationship. Even if everything you're saying is true, you do not get to demand that men treat you a certain way, any more than the pathetic nice guy can demand that a girl date him just because he's so nice to her. You aren't owed anything, but you do get to decide who you're going to date. No one decides that but you.
So I am going to help you. And these are some of the things that I've experienced, and these are some of the things my friends have experienced. I'm just going to lay a few things out. They haven't all happened to me. Some of them have just happened to my friends. A lot of them have happened to me.
I'd like to again point out that if Tomi has had bad experience after bad experience with men, one has to wonder why she hasn't even considered the possibility that she might be the problem. The only common denominator in all her failed relationships is her.
So, the first thing, and I've made notes, by the way. I've made notes. This is how invested I am in this, because I've been thinking about this for about 2 weeks solid now. First question for men. If you like a girl, if you're even somewhat interested in a girl, you need to ask yourself this question. Are you single?
I don't need to do anything, Tomi. Like I said before, men do not owe you anything. Not good treatment, not honesty, not a relationship, period. If you're making a suggestion, that's one thing. But men are free to reject your suggestions and pursue other women. Just like you're free to reject men you're not attracted to.
No, I don't mean are you kind of single, seeing 5 people, dating somebody, still kind of in a relationship, kind of broken up, kind of on again, off again, kind of married, kind of divorced. Are you actually single?
Let me guess. You went on a date with a guy, jumped in bed with him on the first date, and then a few days later discovered he was banging 20 other girls, right? Now you're just horrified. But tell me, Tomi, how many times have you been texting or talking to multiple guys who are interested in you, trying to keep all of them on the hook so that you could choose the best one once you got bored with all the others? I've met plenty of women who seem to think there's nothing wrong with this. You might think it's unkind for a guy to be seeing other girls without disclosing it to you, but again, he does not owe you that information. Did you stop to think that maybe if you refuse to give out sex prior to him demonstrating commitment, you might not find yourself in this situation?
That means single. You have nobody. You have no complications. You have no attachments. You are actually single. That is the first question, believe it or not, that needs to be asked. And ladies, you should be asking it, because in 2020, it's not a given anymore that a guy that's actively pursuing you is actually single. So that's the first thing.
And it's not a given that the woman jumping in bed with you is actually single either. In fact, if you met her on Tinder or some other dating app, I virtually guarantee she's talking with multiple other guys. You decide who you're going to date, and you decide whether to judge them by their words and appearance, or by their proven record of past behavior. I guarantee that if you refuse to give up sex before commitment, you would not have been fooled like you've apparently been.
The second thing, that I think is very important that men don't seem to understand. There are very few women out there, and I'm speaking from personal experience as well as from all of my friends and all the women, quite frankly, that I talk to. There is not a woman out there that wants to be your pen pal. She doesn't want to get your texts, your good morning texts, your good night texts, your random through the day texts, if they don't follow up with a plan to actually, here's the kicker, in person, hang out. Now, I know what you're saying. Oh, it's COVID. People can't hang out in person. This has not been a 4-month problem. This has been a 5-year problem that I've experienced with men and my friends have experienced with men. Women do not want a pen pal. We don't want a texting pal. We quite frankly don't care if you text us all day or if you don't text us at all. If you're not going to make a plan to actually see us in person, not interested.
Oh, so women never do this either. I mean, it's not like women are more than willing to flirt via text message, but then become super busy when you actually suggest getting together. Tommy, what the heck? You can choose to block the numbers of men that you don't want texting you. You can make clear to a guy from the start that if he's not actually wanting to get together and hang out, you're not interested in flirting via text messages. But I'll tell you what. If there are guys out there that keep acting like your pen pal, as you call it, I guarantee it's because you choose to keep texting them back. If you didn't keep texting them back, they wouldn't keep doing it. So who exactly is at fault for this problem?
And if you do have a woman out there that just wants to be your pen pal, it's probably because she has a boyfriend or a husband or a wife or whatever.
That may well be true. But again, who is it that decides to keep entertaining this by texting back?
We don't want a pen pal. But that also leads me to my second point. This is going to be backwards for you guys. Make plans. Make a plan. Do not assume that you can text somebody randomly in the middle of the day, what are you doing? Or text them at midnight or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or even just within hours of when you actually want to see them and think that they're going to be available. I personally, once I get home and I take my makeup off and I'm watching TV, I'm no longer interested. So if you didn't make a plan earlier in the day, or better yet, a day or 2 or 3 in advance, I'm not interested. I don't want to hang out anymore because that ship has sailed.
Okay. The only reason that I can fathom that Tommy would be mad about this is because she's gotten this kind of, hey, let's bang text at 1 o'clock in the morning. But the thing is, it came from Chad Maximum, some man that she thought was super high value. So she's like, okay, gets right out of bed, dolls herself up, runs over and complies. But then when morning comes and he doesn't want to have breakfast with her, she's hurt. Tommy, if this is so rude and inconsiderate, why don't you just ignore men who send these texts? Block their numbers. It's not that hard. And if you seriously thought that giving this kind of man sex after he texts at 1 in the morning would somehow make him want to commit to you, you deserve to be hung out to dry.
Make a plan. I want to hang out with you at this time. It doesn't have to even be a date. I want to see you at this time. Are you free at this time? Or when are you free? I will accommodate my schedule to see you. When are you free? I want to see you. I know it's not rocket science, but men of 2020, it seems like it's pretty difficult for you to figure out.
As a man, I can say that I've met plenty of women who are wishy-washy like this when it comes to plans. You know what I do when that happens? I delete their numbers and accept that they're not interested. They don't owe me anything, but then again, I don't owe them anything either. And again, Tommy, this might be hard for you to process, so I will keep on saying it. Men do not owe you anything, but it's you who decide who you're going to spend time with. No one decides that but you.
And I'm not a feminist, so please don't take this as a feminist rant. I love men. I think men are great. I think men have failed themselves and they've failed us. And I'm just trying to help you out because I think there are a lot of really great guys out there who need a little help. And I don't think that there are a lot of women that are stepping up and saying these things.
Oh yeah, I'm not a feminist. I love men. They're just all garbage and they have a moral obligation to treat me the way I want them to.
And not FaceTime me, I swear to God. Quite frankly, I don't think that there are a lot of women that aren't raging feminists, that don't look like Lena Dunham. They're saying these things to you. So I'm going to go ahead and say them because they need to be said. I am really so sick of my friends having to deal with trash men. I am tired of dealing with trash men, so I'm going to help you out.
Oh, so Lena Dunham is right about this kind of stuff. I thought you just said you aren't a feminist. I believe it was Mark Twain who once said, "Better to keep your mouth shut and have everyone think you're a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt." You ought to take that advice, Tommy.
Make plans. So let's go through these lists again because I know y'all love a list. Number 1, are you single? Number 2, make a plan. Nobody wants a pen pal. We want to actually see you. If not, don't text us because it's a waste of our time and we don't want to see it on our phones. Got it? All right. Next thing. Value. Okay? Value.
Tommy, are you freaking kidding me? You do not get to tell men what they should or shouldn't value. Value is subjective to an individual. Imagine what would happen if a successful electrical engineer, who happens to only be 5'4" tall, were to make a video where he suggested that women were morally deficient for not placing value on his technical expertise over his height. How absurd! Women are free to value what they're going to value, and men can't force them otherwise. Now, I happen to think many women are in fact screwing themselves by choosing to value good looks, height, and income more than they value character. But that doesn't mean I get to tell them what they must value. But again, the kicker is this. You are the one deciding what men you're going to spend your time with.
Take that in. Just repeat it to yourself until it makes sense. Okay.
Nonsense remains nonsense, even when spoken by a beautiful girl. Repeat that until it makes sense.
If you want to date a girl that has nothing going on, then that's fine.
Oh, so men do have the right to pick the women they want based on what they value. Isn't that the opposite of what you just said?
But please do not mix in people like me and my friends who have something going on with your other girls that have nothing going on. And by nothing going on, I mean this. There is no job that is unimportant. There is no job that's not valuable or that's not worthy. It is. But if you want to mix in people like me and people like my friends who are go-getters, who work really hard, who make their own money, who are talented, skilled, ambitious, please don't mix us in with the Tatianas. We don't want to be there.
This may come as a shock to you, Tommy, but men, generally speaking, do not care about women with career ambition. Men generally value 3 things: youth, beauty, and fertility. Now, marriage-minded men care about a demonstrated ability to be a wife and a mother. Players care about a woman's willingness to spread her legs. The only people who care about women having something going on, as you put it, are women who think they have something going on. And mostly those crazy blue-haired feminists that you supposedly despise while agreeing with them on everything.
If that's what you want, find them. Please, for the love of God, do not mix us in with them because we don't want to be there. And quite frankly, we take it as an insult if we find out that you are also talking to 5 Tatianas who have nothing going on. People like me and my friends are going to be insulted by that. And there's almost really no coming back from it.
Apparently not, because if this keeps happening over and over, you apparently keep going back to guys who treat you like this. Again, Tommy, men are free to talk to other women who you see as Tatianas if they want to. You're free to ignore these men, so why aren't you? Why is it that they have an obligation to change their behavior to suit your needs? Tell me, has a not-so-attractive guy ever demanded that you give him the time of day because he's so nice and successful? What exactly would you say to such a man if he did?
So if you want that kind of a girl, the kind of girl who's just kind of happy going through the motions of life, not really super ambitious, hasn't really found herself yet, doesn't really have a whole lot going on other than she's pretty, please just go after them. And please do not mix us in.
Why, thank you, Tommy. That's exactly what I intend to do. But don't you then complain about the fact that you're single and can't control what men place value upon. You're free to believe that you're a real catch, but you cannot demand that any man wants you. It's not possible.
So value. There's a lot of women out there that I know that are my good friends who have amazing jobs, who work really hard, but who can't seem to find a decent guy, even if they go up in age 5 to 10 to 15 years, because those guys all want to be with 21-year-olds who have nothing going on.
And what exactly does all this tell you, Tomi? Should you conclude, as you have, that all men are just trash and are unable to recognize what they are supposed to want? Or should you conclude that men do not actually care about women who have career success and ambition, and given the choice, will always pick the Tatiana who has nothing going on, as opposed to the spoiled narcissistic brat like you?
It's very unfortunate. I don't think it's going to be fulfilling, but I would say to the men out there, try to maybe find a woman that you can talk to, communicate with, might actually have her together, might actually be ambitious and have something going on or want to have something going on. I don't care what she does. She doesn't have to be on TV. She doesn't have to be a PhD. She doesn't have to be a television producer. She doesn't have to own her own company, but be ambitious and have something going on.
You say she doesn't have to be on television or have a PhD, but she has to be ambitious. But wouldn't that mean that being on TV or having a PhD in fact makes her more ambitious, and therefore such a woman is in fact more desirable than a woman who isn't on TV or doesn't have a PhD? That's the thing, Tomi. You are effectively telling men what they are supposed to want in a woman as opposed to what they actually want. You're offended that men prefer younger, prettier women who don't have career ambition. But again, you don't get to tell men what they must value. Telling men what they're supposed to want is no more effective than telling women to quit valuing taller men over shorter men, or high-earning men over low-earning men. You might as well tell the sun not to rise. You don't have to like it, but men get to decide what their preferences are, just as you get to decide what yours are.
Those women out there are going to be a lot more fulfilling to you. You're actually going to enjoy your time. And if you actually might want a sustainable and healthy and stable relationship, that's probably the kind of girl you're going to need to find. Not the Tatianas who just want to look cute and post Instagram stories.
Really? Because last I checked, the data is pretty clear on this. Women with career ambition, as you put it, are in fact more likely to divorce their husbands, as are women who have had more sexual partners prior to marriage. So what you've said here is just flat out false, Tomi. Men picking educated, career-ambitious women who have something going on does not increase their chances of having a long-term stable relationship. It decreases the chances. And so picking the younger Tatianas who have nothing going on and who have had fewer sexual partners is actually a rational choice on the part of men who are looking for serious relationships. A rational man is only going to pick the career-ambitious woman for a fling. But oh wait, I guess you already found that out.
Now, I love a good Instagram story. Y'all know I do. I love a good boomerang. I love a good whatever. But if that's all you do, men, if that's all she does, probably Houston, we have a problem. I'm just gonna let you in on a little tip.
Present the empirical evidence showing that men are happier and have better long-term relationships when they pick older, career-ambitious women. Until then, I have no reason to take what you've said seriously.
The next thing on my list is this: consistency. It really does not help me or my friends or any woman in general if you are really cool and you're really interested when you first start talking to them, and then give it 3, 4, 5 days, and all of a sudden you're not consistent anymore. You don't make plans. You don't really care. You kind of fade in and out. You're talking to 5 other Tatianas. Consistency is important.
That may be what you want, but again, men don't owe you anything. Just because he shows interest up until the point you have sex doesn't mean he's actually looking for a long-term relationship. You are the one deciding who you're going to spend time with, and men don't owe you their time any more than you owe men your time. I have to point out again that if you refuse to give up sex until the man demonstrated his commitment with actions and not just words, you wouldn't find yourself in this position.
Now, if you want to be inconsistent and you want to ghost and you want to fall off the radar, that's fine, but I'm going to give you a pro tip. People like me and people like my friends, we aren't going to really give a shit after that. We don't really care. The F's have been given, and we're kind of done.
Well, here's some news for you, Tommy. The man you're after, you know, the one who's over 6 feet tall, makes more than 6 figures, good-looking, muscular. He's got plenty of other girls willing to give him sex. And let's face it, despite everything you're saying here, he knows that all he has to do is send you one more text and you'll jump into bed with him again immediately. So why on earth is he going to change his ways? Why would he want to be with only one selfish, entitled brat who gives him all sorts of rules, as opposed to getting sex from all of them without any?
I'll tell you this from personal experience. Once I'm turned off, I am turned off. And I don't care anymore. Because at one point, I probably did care. At one point, my friends, they probably did care. They probably did like you because you expressed interest and maybe you were cool and maybe you were kind of fun to hang out with. But if you're not consistent and you fall off the radar, I give you maybe 1 to 2 chances to fix that because I'm a very direct communicator. Women, this is important. I will communicate to you. If your communication isn't great, I will let you know that. I will let you know that more effort is needed. But if you don't heed that warning and I have to warn you twice, I'm done at that point because I don't really care anymore.
I guarantee that he doesn't care either. If he's exhibiting the behavior you've described, then I guarantee you he's one of these top 10% alpha males who has plenty of attention from other girls and is never going to follow your rules so that he can be with just you. The only kind of man who is going to follow all these rules you're prescribing is the young doormat type man who's so desperate for female attention that he'll do anything they say. But something tells me you're never going to be attracted to a man like this.
Now I'm done. Now I don't care. And I know my friends who are watching this are thinking and saying the same thing because we have these conversations on an almost daily basis. Once you turn us off, we don't care anymore. So let that be a warning to you. You're probably not going to circle back. They always come back. They always come back. But when you're ready to come back, I probably don't care anymore. So if you want to switch up, stay there. Pro tip.
But the thing is, this really isn't true. Despite what Tommy and her friends may say, I know that every last one of them would jump right back in bed with any one of these alpha males who have ghosted them the moment they ask for it. As Rollo Tomasi has so aptly pointed out, women make rules for betas and break rules for alphas. It's just how it works.
My last thing on my list is also very important. Don't be, excuse my language, don't be a don't be a don't be a
Yeah, Tommy, I could say the same thing to you. In fact, I will. You are behaving like a selfish, entitled. Why the heck would any man want you for anything more than sex?
If you have then failed and you lost a woman of value like myself or my friends, and then we don't really care anymore, don't be a don't be butthurt. You did it to yourself, okay? And it's no longer my problem. Now it's become a personal problem of yours. So don't be a
As is the case when you got dumped by Chad Maximum for his 20 other Tatianas. It's no longer his problem, so don't you be a Tommy. You decide who you spend time with. No one decides that but you.
And by the way, if I'm no longer interested because your effort is that's not me being that's not me being difficult. That's me having a standard in which I expect from people.
Funny thing is, men are free to have standards too. For example, I prefer younger, prettier women without careers. Am I free to have that standard? Because I thought you said I wasn't. Rules for thee, but not for me, huh?
I do have high standards and high expectations. My friends have high standards and high expectations. Do you want to know why? We've worked for those, okay? We work hard. We're successful. We take care of ourselves. We try to look cute. We have a desire to be something more each day, okay? That's why we have the ability to be somewhat what you call difficult. It's not difficult. We just have a baseline standard. And if you can't meet that standard, that's okay. A lot of men cannot.
And if you can't meet the standards of the men you want to be with, then they are free to ghost you and chase Tatianas. Funny how women constantly remind men that they aren't owed anything from women. Yet women seem to keep forgetting that men don't owe them anything either.
But if you are one of those men out there, and I have them all over my DMs, sometimes I check them, and you guys are like, what would it take to be with someone like you? What would it take to be with your friends? What are girls like you? What are they looking for? I laid them out for you very simply there.
Yeah, the only thing is, the men sending you those DMs are the young, inexperienced doormat men, under 6 feet tall, without six-figure incomes or bodybuilder muscles. Do you honestly think that the men Tomi actually wants to date are the same ones sending her these DMs? No, those men are out banging the Tatianas who have nothing going on, which is why Tomi is so angry that she has to compete for their attention. The irony is, the only men who are going to watch this video and promise to follow all of Tomi's rules are the weak and unlearned beta males who Tomi is never going to be attracted to.
In order to have a shot with a girl like me, or girls like my friends, girls that are worth a damn, you don't really have to be Brad Pitt. You don't have to be famous. You don't even really have to make a lot of money or have a really fantastic job. You just have to be determined. You have to be in some way successful in that you want to attain some certain kind of success for yourself. You're driven. You have goals. You can handle a woman with standards. That's not going to turn you off. And you're going to put in the effort to be with somebody like myself or my friends. We deserve that. And we will not compromise our standards.
Oh please, this is so obviously disingenuous. How many men watching this video who are under 6 feet tall, make less than six-figure income, and don't have a high status position in society think Tomi would give you the time of day if you approached her? By the way, Tomi, do you think everyone's forgotten about this little clip from when you were on Louder with Crowder?
I'm going to ask you a series of questions, Tomi. First question, you're a perfect man. Is he above or below 6 foot?
Above. Absolutely.
Ed, buddy.
Second question, your ideal man, would you consider him to be rugged or pretty?
Rugged.
Rugged, okay, put that in there, Jerry. Would he have brown hair, blonde hair, red hair, or you prefer not to answer?
I mean, I hate to go along with your Hitler Youth thing, but probably blonde hair. I'm sorry, light hair.
Okay, final question. This ideal man, is he self-employed or employed by somebody else ensuring financial security? I guess the question is, what's more important? Someone who is individualistic or provides security?
Security. Yeah.
Yeah, way to go, Tomi. I mean, it's your right to chase only the top 1% of men, but you have to remember that Chad Maximum doesn't owe you anything any more than you owe Joe Beta Male. Men don't owe you respect any more than you owe them sex, and you don't deserve anything.
I tell you this, it will be a cold day in hell when I chase a man. And I know that's the same thing for my friends as well. And if my friends are listening and they're thinking about chasing a man, please, for the love of God, do not. Because there is not one single man on planet Earth, okay, that is worth making any woman feel like she is not good enough. I don't care how hot a girl is, how smart, how successful, how rich. We have all dealt with men who treat us like we are not good enough. No, the problem is we are too enough, and you can't handle it.
And mark my words, Tomi. In about 7 years, you're going to be 35, still single, and groveling at the feet of Chad Maximum to take you back. Tears streaming down your cheeks as you watch hell freeze over and you chase him and chase him and chase him, only to watch him leave the bar with a 21-year-old hottie. No, Tomi, you and your friends aren't too enough. You're spoiled, narcissistic brats who are only ever good enough for sex. That is, until your expiration date when you hit the wall, when you're then tossed to the side and only able to bag men who you can never be attracted to. And no, I don't feel sorry for you. You've made your choices about how you're going to handle men and relationships. Now you have to deal with the consequences.
So, those are my checklists. Again, I will go through them for you one more time in case you are just tuning in. Number 1, are you single? No, really. 2, make plans. We don't want a pen pal. 3, value. Value someone who has value. Consistency. Be consistent. Don't be great and then fade out. And then don't fade out and then think that you're going to fade back in, because it ain't going to work. And last but not least, if all else fails, don't be a Hope you guys have all enjoyed my PSA, my Instagram Live. I love you all. Hope I gave you some valuable tips and advice. But hey, those are just my final thoughts from Nashville, Tennessee in my kitchen. God bless and take care.
And here's my final thought, Tommy. Men don't owe you anything. Not respect, not good treatment, not a relationship, nothing. Men don't owe you anything any more than you owe sex to a man you're not attracted to. And that, dear friends, is my 2 cents. You can take it for what it's worth. Thanks everyone for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, as well as hit the bell to receive notifications so that you never miss an upload. And if you're a fan of my channel, please consider supporting me on Subscribestar, Bitbacker, or Patreon to receive special rewards. All links can be found in the About section of my website, my2centsvideos.com.